that out. And Ben, he always knew Pluto was a planet. Ben Armstrong here. He's going to help out the kids this weekend. So good luck. You got a game this weekend, Ben? Got another little mute action here. We set him up. We did that on purpose.
Got nothing.
Yeah, I see that.
He's got nothing.
No, we got practice. We got practice this weekend. The first game's on Tuesday. First real game. So
all right,
first real game. See Yankee way.
It's going to be a nail biter, and we're not going to have a show Monday. It's going to be Labor Day, but there will be a morning stream. You will get to see Ben's beautiful face and TJ.
No, we're not doing. We're not doing morning stream. We changed.
No morning stream. All right.
No, they will have a video for me. A video for me in the morning and one in the evening.
Yeah, and make sure we'll definitely have some phone records or something for you. So you'll always get that content here. We're always making content here. But all right, before we get into the topics here, more holders than profiters. We also have OpenSea burning up all of the ETH and possibly a $5,000 ETH. We'll see. Before we get into all that, let's check out the market cap. I don't know what's happening there. All right, Bitcoin. We're above 50,000, folks. We're above 50,000. Breaking news, 50,192. ETH. It touched 4,000. It danced with 4,000. Right now at 39.27. And Binance Coin looking right at $500. We're at 489 on Binance Coin, so we're getting really close there. Solana up in the double digits again, 11.37%. So it's a huge gains. But all right, let's get right into our topics here. More hodlers than the profit takers. There's another survey. We've talked about this company before. They've done surveys before. It's called the Backed. It's a crypto marketplace. They send out thousands of thousands. We actually have a little graphic here. We can go ahead and pull that up. So they interviewed thousands of people. Of the people who do own crypto, around 11% have transferred it to someone else. If we look at the largest one, 58% are saying they want to use it as a long-term investment. They want to accumulate value. I think that might be a little bit optimistic. I don't know. Ben, how do you feel about 58% claiming that they want to hold crypto for the long term? Do you think if Bitcoin hits 100,000, they'll still be singing that tune?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show today.
Love having you.
Glad to be here. Rice, I think your volume on your mic is turned up way too high, just so you know. Yeah,
Thank you.
We're hearing if your shirt's wrinkle, like your shirt, you move your shirt wrinkles. You'd sound like,
oh wow! How is this?
Okay. Yeah,
is this a little bit better?
You just hear him breathing like.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Okay. Look. Yeah, it makes sense to me that 58% of people would say this because I mean, look, for those of us that have been in here for years and years, like we've seen the cycles all the way through. We see what happens. We know how to play them smartly. We know to sell the tops and buy the bottoms. The vast majority of people in crypto during every bull market are new, so they don't quite understand that. They haven't seen it all the way through. And so, because I was talking to my father-in-law this morning, and he texted me. He's like, "Man, I'm thinking about moving all my Bitcoin over to VeChain. Do you think that's a good idea?" And I'm like, well, the thing about it is, like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like, Bitcoin's going to rip soon, so you may want to wait till Bitcoin rips and then do it. But VeChain is going to outperform Bitcoin for the rest of this bull market. There's zero question about it in my mind at this point. Like, VeChain will at least 2x where Bitcoin, or at least 3x where Bitcoin will be lucky to 2x from here. So, or it will almost exactly 2x from here. And he was like, well, if I make this move, I'm going to want to hold VeChain for at least a year. And I said, why? And he said, well, because the tax rate is lower if you hold it for a year. And I said, well, let's do the math on this. If it drops 80% in the next year, is that still a smart move mathematically for you to do? And the answer to that question is absolutely not. Like, having to pay a higher tax rate is a good thing. That means you made more money. So I think the vast majority of people are still trying to figure this out and get their hands on that. And I bring up that story because I think that's a pretty common thing that new investors think about. Like, a year from now, the prices are going to be so much lower. Even all that into consideration, it still makes way more sense to sell at the top here in a couple months.
Yeah, so I would agree. But
wrong.
Oh, well, all right. What's your take, Stache? Or you just want to say wrong?
No. So I agree with the hodling part of this. I think that a lot of new people coming in, it makes sense for them to think like that. But if you're thinking only in 1 year moves, and that is your long-term thinking, you're not on the right time scale, guys. You shouldn't be thinking like what's going to happen in an inter bull bear market cycle. Like I got to get out here at the top, and I don't mind paying short gain capital gains tax because I'll still make a ton of money if I sell the top. I mean, if you're looking to be a trader, that's one thing. But if you're looking to actually be an investor and hold for the long term, you should be thinking in 5 to 10 year increments. The big boys that make the big money, they're not over there sitting there thinking what's going to be happening within a year. That's what they let the little traders and the guys in the trading room worry about. For most people, for most people that are coming into something like this, and we talk about like, oh, there's, they've pulled and all these people are going to halt. Of course they are, because most people are not invested traders. They're not over here, they don't have the time to spend trading. And that's why, I advocate the same thing. That's my strategy. And I talk to that about my community about that exact same thing, is that most people don't have the time to consistently watch markets, to watch trends, to jump on the newest, latest coins. But what they can do is they can invest consistently with things like DCA or, buying when there is a dip, and at least, they're aware of that, and holding for the long term. And because that's what's going to be the best strategy for the majority of people who are going to touch crypto in their lifetime. It's not going to be trying to flip NFTs or flipping, the next shit coin that pops off. It's going to be long-term plays with top coins.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's a terrible time to buy. Then it's a terrible time to buy for people who want to
it
look
is
long-term.
Yeah. It's a horrible time to buy right now. Why would you buy the top? Of course you don't buy the top. And so that's something that obviously some people won't know. But, I'll tell you right now, personally, I bought the top when I first got into Bitcoin in 2013. Now that top was only about $500, but you know what I'm saying? It was enough to get me to learn, and I started thinking long term. And so buying the top is not anything I would ever advise. But at least if you've got a little skin in the game, it keeps you wanting to at least check it every once in a while, maybe a couple times a year or something, as an investor mentality, and then you get to a point where, okay, now you start to see a little bit of the cycle, and you've been through a bull market or a bear market. You can start to understand when the good times are to buy, and you keep a little bit of liquidity on the sidelines to be able to do that outside of your DCA.
Yeah, as Elio says, put a little powder, dry powder on the sides to blow up. And with the little stream elements notification, reminded me right there, in the description, there's links to all the channels, so make sure you go in there and let's see if we can get Crypto Stache's thing to blow up. Let's get Rice and Joe's thing to blow up. So go in the description, links to all the channels, check them out. I'll put out great content. And if you like what they're saying, hit that +1 in chat. We'll give them some points. Joe, I was looking at that graphic, and one of the things, I'm not sure if it was on the graphic exactly, but one of the main reasons people were hesitant to invest in crypto, was the price volatility. I think it was 38%. 32% of respondents saying too much volatility is the main obstacle for investing in crypto. I would want to argue that it's probably lack of knowledge. I'm not sure. Where do you land on that? What do you think the #1 reason is people have yet to invest in crypto, if they're, thinking about it at least?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I really appreciate being back on the show, and have definitely brought the green. It's a beautiful green day here overall, and thanks again for the opportunity. But honestly, volatility is what you want. You want volatility. And I think that I'm the perfect guy to answer this question, because if you get into new projects early, that's when the maximum amount of volatility is. And as Ben was kind of saying, now is not a really good time to get into a lot of these bigger projects. And he's not wrong by saying that. Even if they do go up 2, 3, 4 times from here, which we all believe is still very possible, and things are moving towards that way, where do you get these 5x, 10x, 50x, 100x gains? Well, you got to look deeper. You got to find those new projects. And that is something that I specialize in and really just focus on my channel almost primarily, finding these coins that no one has found, finding the new NFT projects that no one's talking about, because that's where you can truly make the life-changing money. And then you start taking those profits and you put it into your VeChain, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and all of that. And then you can, as the shirt says, just hodl it, right? That's where you can have that longer term time frame, because you're in such massive profits from doing the flipping. Now, it's very important to understand, if you want to do the flipping, you need education, okay? You need to learn step by step how this happens, because it's a lot more difficult than just simply going to Coinbase and buying Ethereum and going, okay, when moon, right? So we really need to actually educate ourselves, pay attention to where the money is, and then actually learn how to flip it and then move it up the stream. And then from there, once all the bigger caps are starting to flow, and you can move it back down. And there's an amazing game to be played. And that's just kind of my take on everything here. So hopefully that helps the viewers.
No, it's a good take. It's a good take. Some of the other data that was in the survey was talking about ages specifically. And they had 18 to 44 haven't purchased crypto in the past 6 months, are somewhat or very interested. Only 25% in the 45 to 60 range are somewhat or very interested. And when we go in the 60 plus range, are you very interested or somewhat interested in crypto? It was only 19%. So, Rice, are you surprised that, it was even a fifth? And how do we get that number higher? How do we get more people 60 and above, 50 and above interested in crypto?
Ease of use would be the first thing that I would say. And when you look at technology, you're always going to see, especially when it's newer technology, developing emerging technologies, you're going to see what they call a digital divide, where you kind of think about your grandmother trying to program a remote control, one of those situations. Now, obviously, she had problems when she first started doing it, but once she started using that remote control, she started being able to utilize it and be able to get around pretty well. So I think ease of use is definitely going to help out. And I agree with what everybody has said so far. When you look at things from a traditional investment standpoint, minimum, you're seeing like 2 to 3 years. But like Stache said, 5 to 10 years would be more appropriate for these long-term investments. And for myself, I got involved in crypto in early 2017. I didn't know anything about traditional investments. I didn't know anything about stock markets. I didn't know anything about trading. So I didn't understand what was going on. And when we hit the all-time highs in December of 2017, I didn't know to take profits, to exit out, and to rebuy back in. So I think a lot of people who had learned from then are kind of in that position that I'm in. And then also with this bull run, I think with us having that kind of mini bear market that kind of came out of nowhere, that threw a lot of people's game plans off, where had a lot of people foresaw this happening, there might have been more profit taking when we were hitting that $64,000, $65,000 price with Bitcoin. So I just think, really the education is coming into key. And I think that, when you have especially older people from above 40 years old, they're used to doing longer term investing. So that's where I would see the hodling versus people trading. And then again, the trading stuff is very time consuming. It's very time consuming to go in and look at all these projects and find out what could be the gems, because there's so many different projects competing against the same different things. So, and you don't necessarily know what's going to take off. And time is our most valuable asset. Not everybody has that time to look at the charts, to trade, and to do the research. So long term and dollar cost averaging, even if you were to start buying now, if you bought at the top in 2017 with the dollar cost average strategy, you would still be up.
Yeah.
So unless you bought at the top at 64, 65 with the DCA, you may not be up right now. But we know, like without a shadow of a doubt, that a DCA strategy is going to be a winning strategy when it comes to being in profits.
Yeah, you can literally jump in at the top, give it 4 years, you will be in the green. You actually brought back a blast from the past. I remember when basically all the television remotes went to kind of the smart remote with the guide and everything digital, and you could no longer just change a channel. I don't want generalize here, but basically every older person I knew was very against it, vehement. I can't, I hate this. Where's my old remote? And
the TV guide. Where's the TV guide?
Yeah, and you look now, they're all used to it. They're all recording on VDR. They love it.
And they love it.
Very
it's gotten easier for them. So the easy
no, dude, my grandma's 90. She can still barely use the remote, man. So her trying to go flip through the thing, it's so hard. It's rough. She's like, "Where's the channel?" I go, Grandma, you're got the wrong input on. She's like trying to go through. It's all static. She doesn't understand. I don't know.
Oh well, if you hit the input button and you don't know what you're doing with the remote, it's over. You're gonna have to call your grandson. You're gonna have to call a cousin or somebody at least. But yeah, it's like Miss Kim in the Twitch chat says, people don't like change, and I agree with that. And with that, on that note, Stache and Rice, you need to change your backgrounds. They're basically the same. I don't know what's going on there, but now that I've noticed that, I can't unsee it. But let's go to our
I
next
got
topic
bricks
here.
and he's got graffiti, man.
Yeah,
Mine
I
way
mean,
cooler.
it's definitely a vibe
colorful.
that is similar. All right. Well, I mean, they're
Well, we
different.
can
They're
identify
different.
as they.
Well, that's a whole. All right, let's get to the second topic. Jesus, people, you're trying to get me in trouble here. OpenSea is burning all of the ETH. I looked at some of this data. I wasn't surprised, but that OpenSea was burning more than everybody. But I was surprised at the amount that they have been burning lately. So it was Ultrasound Money. They published a leaderboard of all the top Ethereum being burnt since EIP 1559. The number is 186,000 ETH has been burned since AIP 1559. It's around $750 million. Just boom, gone forever. So the average amount, OpenSea has burned 30,000 just on their own. It's around 46%, it's more than half basically. So we look at some of the other things. It was Uniswap V2 is number 2, Tether was number 3, Axie Infinity number 4, Uniswap V3 was 5, and MetaMask was number 6. So OpenSea is just destroying everybody here. Ben, a lot of people said the NFTs were going to drive adoption and pump adoption for Ethereum. Are NFTs actually killing Ethereum with these crazy gas fees?
I've never heard anyone say NFTs are the future.
Well, there's at least one person on this panel who might disagree.
Are you freaking kidding me? I've been saying it for like 3+ years, 4 years almost now, and no one listened until this year. They're like, "Oh, I guess Stache
charity
was right this
boxing,
entire
right?
time."
Charity
Somebody
boxing,
talking?
man.
Is somebody talking? I didn't even hear it. Okay, look, yeah, so no, NFTs are definitely not killing Ethereum, but I mean, they're obviously, look, it's not NFTs, it's anything that incurs a lot of transactions. So obviously it was DEXs over last summer, now it's NFTs, it was DeFi, as well. It just brings up the flaws of Ethereum, and Ethereum definitely has flaws. The good news is they've got a plan to fix it with ETH 2.0, and I believe that it will fix the vast majority of the problems. It won't be perfect. We'll still need, layer 2 solutions like Polygon and Cartesi and Arbitrum and ZK rollups. Like these are all, pretty good projects that I think are going to have, an effect on Ethereum. You can always send faster transactions. So, we're still going to need those. But it obviously is bringing up, a lot of Ethereum's problems, which the number one problem for Ethereum remains scalability. And that's what all this encompasses.
Yeah, were you surprised that OpenSea has burnt more than V2 and V3 Uniswap combined?
I would say no, and only because I know Uniswap is getting used a lot, but because Uniswap really had its heyday last year, and because we have a lot of other chains now, we've got Binance Smart Chain, we have Solana, we've got we've got Polygon, a lot of other chains that can be traded on. I think that's having an effect. I mean, if Uniswap was still the only game in town like it was last year, then it would definitely still be number one. But because it's getting kind of splintered off, and look, people are always looking for the next, like Joe was talking about, people are always looking for the next big coin. A lot of those coins now are launching on other platforms, so they're going to those platforms for that. So that would probably be the reason for that. I mean, and plus, there's a larger user base of people that want to buy NFTs than I think people that want to trade on DEXs because it's more mainstream. I would say using a decentralized exchange is definitely a level 2 crypto person. It's definitely an intermediate person, not a beginner. Whereas buying an NFT for the first time, you can still be a beginner. So it opens up a bigger pool of people.
No, I mean, for myself personally, if I compare buying NFTs to swapping coins, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio. So yeah, I'm buying NFTs probably about twice as often. Now, Joe, do you think this NFT craze, is it going to just keep rising and rising and rising, or is it going to slow down soon, or is this just, foreseeable future?
I do think that it will bubble, right? And we're starting to see millions and millions of dollars pour into these NFTs, especially on, Ethereum and all the other places. But I do think that there will be a top to this at some point, right? Nothing goes up forever. But right now, again, if you're looking for an opportunity in NFTs, do you want to be buying an NFT that's a rock that is already worth $1 million and you're trying to flip that for, $1.1 million? Or would you rather try to buy a new NFT that's just about to be minted, and that NFT you could buy for $400 or $500, let's say, and then that goes to 400,000 or 500,000, right? To me, that's where, again, we really want to be focusing, because your risk is so much lower there. Then you don't really care if it bubbles and you miss the top of the bubble, right? Because at some point it will bubble. I truly do believe that. But if you're sitting there and you buy something at the all-time high, and a lot of these NFTs, especially the popular ones, they're at their all-time highs or getting even higher up there, right? So the risk then increases. So we got to just think a little bit harder, and you got to study a little bit more. And I understand that, you know, for people, they don't have the time to do that. Well, fortunately, there are YouTubers who this is all they do, and, you know, that's what they focus on. So, you know, feel free again to check out those YouTubers. Some of them may or may not be in the description. And, you know, that to me, I think is going to help a lot of newcomers. And it's a lot more fun that way too, right? Because if you're sitting there and you only have a small budget to play with, and you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and all of a sudden that NFT goes from 1,000 down to $100, you're not going to feel very good. But if you mint an NFT for $5 or $10 and, you know, that one goes down to $1, it's not a big deal. So I really do think that, yes, there will be a bubble. There typically always is. But I do think that long term, NFTs are here to stay. And, you know, if you do have that long-term horizon, there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, no, we actually saw it yesterday. Soul Bears on Solana went from 1,500 to about 200 in the course of hours, as the internet discovered that they're basically a cash grab. So yeah, I mean, we are starting to see it now. Stache, I want to ask you about a branding issue. So a lot of, you know, crypto traders, they are upset at these crazy gas fees. They're blaming NFTs. Is there anything NFTs, like, you know, as the ecosystem can do as a whole to help their tarnished image in the crypto industry for those who don't like NFTs?
Well, if you don't like NFTs, then you probably don't understand them very well. And that's what I would say is that I feel like we see in a lot of people, they're like, NFTs suck, they're horrible, get rid of them, they're just a fad. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably, you know, the same thing we saw people talking about when, you know, Bitcoin was first on the scene, and then when Ethereum was first introduced. You know, in general, you know, NFTs are not just Ethereum. And that's a problem that you guys are talking about. You're talking about an Ethereum problem, not an NFT problem. The problem is not with NFTs. The problem is with the Ethereum network. If the fees weren't so crazy for literally everything on the network, it's not just NFTs. And people are like, oh, well, it's NFTs' fault that the fees are so high. It's not. They were like this before NFTs started exploding onto the network. It's been like this for the last couple of years, as a matter of fact. And we saw, you know, last year with the DeFi summer, with all these DeFi projects blowing up, and actually, you know, kind of leading into last year's summer as well. You know, that really helped to run those fees up. You know, these dexes like Uniswap, where it was like all of a sudden super easy to trade coins, and people were using them all the time and aping into these crazy projects and providing liquidity, and it ran up the fees, and they've never really gone down since then. So this is not an NFT problem, it's an Ethereum problem. The scaling for Ethereum has not come. They keep promising it to us. They keep dangling the damn carrot over our little head and saying, we swear it's going to come. It's going to come. We promise. Here you go. Yeah, stake your Ethereum so it can stay there and waiting for it 2.0. When is it actually going to come? We don't know. I mean, eventually, I'm sure they're going to have to get there. There's billions and billions of dollars on this network, and there needs to be a solution. But when it comes to NFTs, NFTs are not just on Ethereum, guys. There are tons of different networks with NFT ecosystems. Wax is a great NFT ecosystem. ADA, Cardano has an ecosystem that is just getting started. Solana is really coming strong with their NFT ecosystem. Theta has an NFT ecosystem. And there's a ton of other ones out there that are up and coming. So it's not just Ethereum. Ethereum is just the one that has the spotlight right now because they have all the crappy, NFTs that were super early that people want to trade, like these stupid rocks and, you know, even CryptoPunks. I'll say it, man. The art sucks. CryptoPunks art sucks. I passed up on those when they were free. When people were like, "Hey, you want this free CryptoPunk?" And I'm like, I'm not really into big like pixel art, and those are kind of crappy looking. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not really cool," you know. And because it does. So, but you know, hey, bad decision clearly. But you know, and also things like, hey, if anyone's offering anything for free, is like just take it anyways and just let it sit in the wallet. But in general,
man. I got to give you an extra point for giving up a punk there, man. You got chat divided right now. They're all over the place. Let's make sure we go ahead and hit that like. We're only at 1.2 thousand likes. I know we can get to 2,000, but some are saying, you know, finally someone's making sense. Some are saying, hey, this guy's a little defensive on NFTs. I think the truth's somewhere in the middle, maybe. But Rice, real quick, before we get to the last subject here, NFTs currently with Ethereum specifically, are they good or bad?
I would say right now, bad. I mean, obviously, I mean, I would agree with everything that Stache has said so far. I mean, this is not an NFT problem. It is clearly an Ethereum problem. Again, I'm a fan of Wax blockchain, and there's no fees to even send. So there's a lot of different possibilities for, being able to get around that. And obviously, like, this is just a scaling issue. This is what needs to be worked out. And they know that transaction fees have been and are high. It's ridiculous. I was trying to make some trades just over the past couple of days, and just using Uniswap, and just the fees were ridiculous. If you're not trading in like a very high extreme number, it's not even worthwhile to be doing the trades. And that's not how this is supposed to work. And we're not going to get new people in the system if we're going to have problems like this. So it's definitely something that needs to be improved. And as far as a timeline, there should be given something. I mean, they should be letting people know what they're aiming for ETH 2.0, because the scaling issue is obviously a problem. We got more and more people coming into the space. We're probably going to continue having more people come into space, because most people like to buy the tops. So, we're going to see an increase in people coming into crypto. And, the harder it is and the more expensive it is for people to do things, the less likely people are going to want to continue going down this course. I mean, I know some people who have gotten involved in crypto and then realized all the intricacies that were involved with it, and we're just like, screw this. Like, I don't even want to deal with it. It's unfortunate some people have that attitude, but it does exist. So, but I agree that we are in a bubble of a bubble. If we look at the giant debt bubble, and the NFT bubble could very much well pop, and it will pop for these useless 8-bit images that you can buy that have no use case, whatever the case might be. But NFTs, like the real use case, the value that they can bring, like with the concert industry, or being able to do registrations and licenses and certificates and things like that, deeds, using it for real world use case value, as opposed to just like the art, which is going and catching onto the mainstream. And then another thing that I should let you know about, that we're getting ready to pop a bubble, is when you got someone like, and no offense to this person, but Paris Hilton trying to teach people about NFTs. I think she was actually trying to teach Bill Gates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Reese Witherspoon tweeted yesterday about Ethereum. So who knows, I mean, Hollywood, it gets a little crazy, but that brings us to our last topic here. $5,000 Ethereum. We're going to try to run through this real quick. Is it going to happen? I mean, we shall see. It's outperforming Bitcoin on its way to a possible new all-time high that'll set in May. Now, Ben, you said the run-up was going to be fast and furious. We've definitely seen that. It's up about 20-25% in the last week. At what point is this going to slow down on a time scale? Like, do we got another? Is it going to consolidate? Then it runs up again? Is this going to be over in the next month, 2 weeks, 8 weeks?
Well, I can kind of see Ethereum hitting around $5,000 when Bitcoin really starts moving. But you got to remember, Ethereum's biggest and quickest moves are going to be after Bitcoin tops out. So, if we follow the model of what happened with Ethereum since EIP 1559 was launched, which was, what was that, like August 4th? It basically, like, immediately for that week, it shot way up. Okay. Then what did it do? It stayed in what we consider to be the holding zone for Ethereum, where it was in between 31 and 3,300 for weeks. Okay. Then we got another run up, and I think we're probably going to see the same thing. I think right now we got kind of that big, massive run up. We're going to consolidate around the $4,000 level, probably, for, and we may touch all-time highs. We may go to 4,400 and come back down, but in between 4,000 and 4,400 for maybe a week. And in that week, Bitcoin is going to start running. I can just kind of see Ethereum around 5,000 to 5,500, by the end of this month. But then it's over the next 4 to 6 weeks where Ethereum will basically double in price from there. And, obviously the gains will be astronomical.
So you're saying after a Bitcoin all-time high, we get another fast and furious run up, not talking about coronas and quarter miles as you live your life and family, of course. We're saying after a Bitcoin, we get a nice little huge run up. So, I mean, ETH is up 25% over the last week. Bitcoin's up only 6% over the last week. Ben, I mean, do you think Bitcoin's do we see a little flip flop maybe soon?
Well, yeah, that will be during that most explosive part of the run, because it basically, if Ethereum can get to where it's about half the market cap of Bitcoin, is going to be really interesting. Because if it can be around half the market cap when Bitcoin reaches its high, and then Bitcoin is going to drop 50% over the next 2 months, and Ethereum is going to double, I think that's where we have the sweet spot for Ethereum to possibly briefly pass Bitcoin in market cap. And then, of course, in 4 years, we'll permanently pass it.
All right. Well, speaking of market cap, let's also talk about price per coin. So right now, the ratio Ethereum is gaining on Bitcoin. It's 0.078%. So about 7.8% Ethereum is the price of one Bitcoin. We've been talking about it. I think we talked about it last week. We said, possibly a 0.1 ratio where Ethereum would equal 10% of Bitcoin's price. 10%, that's kind of what we were saying. It could be on the high end. Now, Joe, with this run up lately and, Bitcoin kind of trading sideways, is a 10-to-1 ratio about as good as we can expect? Or could we maybe see, like an 8-to-1 or a 7-to-1?
I think, again, it really depends upon the time, right? I think that it definitely could get to a 7 or 8-to-1, but it is when and how that happens. I truly do think that Bitcoin's about to go again right now because it's been trading sideways. All the other altcoins have been getting their pumps, and it's been amazing gains for everybody. So congratulations if you've been, doing that. But now what happens next? Once all these altcoins go, they kind of have their show, right? We have our little altcoin season, right? We've been having that NFT season. Well, all that money is going to go where? Well, it's going to go back up towards Bitcoin, right? Typically, that's how this goes. And then Bitcoin runs, and then it runs, and it runs, and it runs. And then, like Ben said, it's going to be top out time. And then all that money that people made in Bitcoin flows right back down into Ethereum. And then that is where I do think that we could see Ethereum coming, very close to those numbers that you mentioned, DZ, the 0.7, the 0.8, definitely. But right now, I think that maybe it's going to get close because we still are seeing a little bit of that sideways action-ish, but ETH is running up now, right? It's going to hit a couple. It's going to go a little bit more. Then I do think it's going to start flowing back into Bitcoin, and then it's going to be off to the races, and green we go.
All right. Well, we are.
I would like to say real quick. I would like to say real quick. I know for this bull run we've been talking about in Ethereum flipping, and I do believe it's very possible. But if Ethereum can even get to 70 to 80% of Bitcoin's market cap, that is a huge win and sets it up to pass Bitcoin in the next run for sure.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. And someone in Twitch chat wants Doge prediction, just 70 cents. All right, that's what I'm going to say. I don't know if we can pass the all-time highs, but all right. One last question. We're going to wrap it up here. So this weekend, Ethereum, we're knocking on the door. I mean, it has to go up about $450. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but we're going to say this is a long weekend, so we're going to say all the way up till Monday. So this weekend, Ethereum, new all-time high, Rice, yay or nay?
100%. And I think, we're going to see a lot more all-time highs before the market ends. I mean, especially for these good projects. I mean, obviously, I think everything is really, really just gearing up. If we're going to see Bitcoin hitting over $100,000 and we're talking about potentially $10,000 Ethereum, then these smaller cap coins are definitely going to be having a lot of explosive growth as well. And I think this weekend is going to be an awesome weekend, and especially for the fact that it's a 3-day weekend and I'm going on vacation tomorrow too.
All right. Oh, I like it. Very bullish. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling it in my feet now. All right, Joe, This weekend, all-time high for Ethereum, yay or nay?
I'm going to say nay, only though, I got the green behind me, and I'm as green as I can be. But I'm going to say nay because I do think we're going to see resistance around that all-time high, right? So we're going to come just close enough. It's going to be, very close. I don't think we're going to eclipse it, or maybe we do barely. But I do think we're going to dance around it a little bit because typically that's what happens. Again, we don't know for sure, right? Not financial advice, of course. But typically we don't just smash right through an all-time high. There's a little bit of resistance. We bounce around, and then we go green. That's what I'm anticipating. But I do think a good weekend is in store for everyone.
All right. We're seeing some good weekends. All right. Ben, yay or nay? All-time high for Ethereum this weekend till Monday.
I'm going to go with Joe. I say nay. I don't think I think even if we do see a great weekend for Bitcoin and some other altcoins, I think Ethereum has kind of busted the proverbial nut here. I don't know how much higher it's going to be able to get here in the short term over the next few days. And plus, you just asked me what I thought, and I said I think it'll be over a week, for it to really get over there. So I can't go back on that. We'll be consistent, but I would love to be proven wrong.
All right, and we're talking about like busting the peanut shell. We're busting up the shell. We're getting that good juicy fruit inside. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Crypto Stache, we're ending it with you here. Yay or nay? Ethereum all-time high this weekend up till Monday.
You know, I want to split the deck here and say yay, but I think that, you know, with everyone's attention being on this long holiday weekend, that we're just not going to get the numbers we need, and it's so close. I mean, you know, we're only within like a couple $100. Come on, guys, pump the shit out of this weekend.
These
Stop going
traders
out on the
don't care about
vacations.
holidays.
Get off, yeah,
That's right.
get off your hot dogs and your hamburgers and your beers out back.
I
You're
have
drinking your
faith in
Bud Light, your Coors
in
Light.
these traders.
Go ahead and pump that thing above all time highs. I want to see it happen. I really do. So if everyone in the chat could just go buy some Ethereum at like just market buy it like a crazy bastard, we can pump that thing above it. I know, actually, don't do that, but
buy above market price.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen.
All right. So chat, if you want Rice to be right, go ahead and hit that like. We just passed 8,000, but we're right short of 2,000 likes. So I know we can get there, but that's all we got time for today. It's a rare Ben Armstrong victory here. Ben, you got to win. You're taking this energy into the weekend, into baseball practice. You're going to go in there with that champion Mamba mentality. Go ahead and give the people about 30 seconds of some parting thoughts.
Well, you know, I'm just glad to beat Crypto Stache. I've been telling you guys about NFTs for years now. He's finally jumped on the bandwagon with me, and it's been so great to have him on the channel to get his opinion on, you know, what I think is mainstream adoption, which is NFTs. It's just great to beat Stache on a Friday. That's all I care about. Everybody have a great holiday weekend. We're trying to take pretty much Monday off, give our employees a day off. So I'll also be making a couple videos. But, hey, let's pull for that all-time high. Things are green. Remember all the people who told you Bitcoin was dead and the bull run was over. That's who we should think about this weekend.
All right. Now, that's a perfect way to wrap up the week. Make sure you watch NFT Update tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got some great low-cap gems, so you're going to want to you can't miss that episode. But that's all we got time for today, BitSquad. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Easy out.